At one point in time in our journey, we have said our education system sucks,
Hmm.
right? And we have come to believe that it sucks because of one fundamental problem, that is humans are dealing with these assessment data. When teachers or humans are dealing with this assessment data, they cannot comprehend so many data points, and they come up with one particular metric called marks. And when marks is the output or the final metric, everyone tries to optimize for that, students, parents, and that's where everything goes wrong.
Hey folks, welcome to First Cheque Portfolio Shorts. My name is Noah Martins, and this is a series where we speak to founders of our portfolio companies so that you get to know their team, understand what they're building, and the problem they are trying to solve. If you like the content that we've been putting out, do like, share, and subscribe so that we can reach more founders and startup enthusiasts like you. Today's very special guest is Akhil Singh, co-founder of Questt. Questt is an online homework and assignments app that lets teachers assign gamified homework to students, bridging the learning gap between students and teachers through AI-driven data. Questt lets teachers assign homework from a pre-built set of over 10 million questions, create their own questions, and analyze student and class level performance. Students can compete with their friends in real time while completing homework and get a detailed understanding of their learning anatomy. I had an awesome conversation with Akhil, and it's very cool to see the systemic change into the education system that he's trying to build with Questt. So do stick around till the end of the episode to learn more. Akhil, thank you so much for joining me. It is an absolute pleasure to host you.
Same here. I think we're sitting for the second time to do this. Good
Yeah,
to be here again.
awesome. Okay, so let's start by talking about the problem that you're solving at Questt.
Yes. So I think it was a journey to discover this problem as well. When we first when we first started to work on this, I was speaking to, like, how did we really stumble upon the problem? I was speaking to a friend who was doing his PhD from somewhere in the US, and I asked, "What do you do? Where do you spend most of your time?" And he said that I spend most of my time just checking answer sheet, because he was also a teaching assistant there. And that kind of triggered the question that all over the world, teachers and professors are investing huge amount of time in just the process of assessment, creating question papers, checking them, all of those things. And the output of this process has no real insight. We tell our students you got a B grade, 7 GPA, 78 marks. What on earth does it mean, right? So while on one side, huge chunk of humanity spends huge amount of time in just manually checking, creating, managing assessments, the output has no real insight. So this is a very, very inefficient process to have. So that's where we struck upon the problem. Pre-pandemic, we had a different solution. Post-pandemic, when the world went digital, with Quest, we have digitized these assessment for teachers. And with each question, we gathered 6, 7 different parameters, 6, 7 different data points about the student, creating an extremely detailed learning anatomy or learning blueprint about the student. So on one hand, we reduce around 90% of the teacher's time in the process of assessment. On the other hand, we gather massive amount of learning insights about the students. So I think it's a problem and the solution
Right.
that I just spoke about. Yeah.
Right. Very cool, by the way. So tell me a little more about the solution. What does it look like? What kind of students and teachers are using it right now? What is that like?
Right. So for teachers, there are three parts to the process. The first, in doing any kind of assessment, formative assessment, summative assessment, homework test, in simple language. The first is creating of test. Right. Now, if you look at it, at least in the K-12 system, there is a specific and limited curriculum being taught across the country. Right. So same assessments are repeated across the country, and everywhere, because things are not digitized. Teachers are creating it again and again. So one process is the first part of the process is creating these assessments. On Quest, you don't really need to create these assessments from scratch. There are lakhs of questions to choose from, around 50,000 plus ready-made assessments to choose from. Teachers have to come, click on the chapter they're teaching, click on the concept that they have taught, and simply assign. So take them less than 10 seconds to assign these assessments. Second part is evaluation or checking of when the submissions come. So around 80% of these questions are objective, which are automatically evaluated by the system. and 20% questions are subjective. And now we have created a very, very simple interface, which is a Tinder kind of an interface. They can right swipe for correct answer, left swipe for wrong answer. So students keep on submitting images, and teachers can just probably sit on their couch and complete the evaluation, swiping right and left for the subjective evaluation. Third is the management of data. Obviously, everything is automated, so the data is managed automatically on Quest app. Also, there is an extremely detailed and rich insight that they get from this process. So 10 seconds, they assign the assessment, or 80% question answers automatically evaluated. 20% they evaluate with a kind of an interface. Now imagine this with a bunch of the stack of copies kept, and they have to check each and everything, give them back, keep a record on some register, which has no meaning again. All of that is gone, right? For students, these assessments are extremely gamified. They compete in real time with their peers to get a better rank on leaderboard. They chase a planet or planet of mastery or different badges. So it's really cool for them. Not just students don't just have access to the teachers assigned quests. They have a lot of quests to do self practice as well, and they love gamification so much that students have answered as many questions in almost as many questions in self practice as they have in teacher assigned quests. So students are
Wow.
loving this gamification, so they're coming again and again back and trying these assessment by themselves. Again, for students, as we discussed in the beginning, each question is mapped to 6 7 different data points. They no longer look for marks or grades as a metric to judge them. So they have a detailed learning anatomy in terms of concepts, cognitive ability, which guides them in terms of what to do next. So that's how it works for these students.
That's very cool, especially the fact that students are actually attempting these questions without them being assigned. That is honestly a like that's in a good way surprising, you know.
Right. We did not expect this to happen in such volumes, but yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what's the progress so far? How many teachers and students are using this? How big is your own team? How many questions are there on Quest right now? What do those numbers look like?
So the most important metric that we track is the number of questions answered on Quest, because that's a reflection of the number of students, the retention, and how the learning anatomy for these students is being created. So over 25 million questions have been answered on Quest app in last around 10 to 11 months of
That's
launch,
insane.
which also translates to around 130 million data points captured about these students' learning anatomy. And we have around 2.5 lakh plus active student, and 10,000 plus active teachers, and they're coming from 500 plus schools across the nation, from Bihar, from Punjab, from Jammu, from Karnataka, from Tamil Nadu. So that's where we have around. So imagine, like, these 2.5 lakh students did not have anything apart from 87 marks, 70 percentage. Now they have over 130 million
Yeah,
data points for all of these students to understand much more deeply about what they're learning, what they're failing to learn, and create their own learning path based on this data. Yeah.
that's awesome. And how big is your team right now?
Now we are a 40 people team. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Now,
Okay,
as you know, we have recently moved to Bangalore, so
yeah,
almost all of them are here now. Yeah.
nice. Okay. So this is your third startup, right? So you're a third time founder. And so I've discussed this with you. You've watched the show Silicon Valley. And towards the end of every season, they're usually celebrating some sort of success. They've had this aha moment. Or even if it's not an aha moment, it's like a moment where they're like, damn, we're working on something cool here. So can you tell me a story from your journey at Quest so far that has been that kind of a moment where you've just had to pause and be like, okay, we're working on something very cool here?
Right. I think there have been numerous quantitative movements which can be quantitatively analyzed in terms of achieving a 10 million question answer metric, or the fundraisers, or getting good hire. But I would like to talk about one particular incident which reaffirmed our belief in terms of what we're trying to do. This is post COVID. We just got around 40 50 principals together to understand the feedback in terms of how we can improve and what can we do better. And the most important thing that happened in that meeting was all 40, 50, 40, 45 principals. Uh, so there is a committee called Sahodya, so CBSE principals together in a particular area called have the committee or organization called Sahodya, uh, came together and said that we would try to convince our Apex education body to remove marks from the system and bring data back to the center, because that's the kind of impact that we are seeing
Wow.
when people are using Quest. So I think that was one more qualitative movement that reaffirmed our belief in terms of the kind of disruption that we're trying to create.
Right. You're actually creating a systematic change in
Right.
this entire system. What? Very cool. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to ask you my last couple of questions. The first one is this is going to be a two-parter. The first one is, how did you and your co-founder Masan meet? And secondly, why should people want to come and be a part of your team and help you build Quest or build Quest with you?
Right. So the first part of the answer is my one of my friend was trying to build a system, build a SaaS for something like Mixpanel. This was back in 2015, and I was helping him find a full stack developer for that. And Mohsin at that point in time just started his new company called IdeaNab, which was started with the aim of taking startup from 0 to 1 and build products for them. So through a friend, I stumbled upon IdeaNub, met Mohsin, and discussed a lot of what my friend what was trying to do. That's where we kind of gel into uh, the whole where I probably was more of a product and sales guy. Mohsin was more of a builder or of the tech guy, and that's been a long journey now. We have been together, known each other for over 6 years. Our previous startup we did together called Involve.in lived through the entire journey of starting, selling to a lot of different units, and then starting real learning together. So yeah, it's been a long journey. That's how we met. We have been together because of the common belief of creating impact at scale. I think that's how we define our motto. And why should people work at Quest? I think Noah, you or every one of us when we were in college or at one point in time in our journey, we have said our education system sucks,
Hmm.
right? And we have come to believe that it sucks because of one fundamental problem, that is humans are dealing with these assessment data. When teachers or humans are dealing with this assessment data, they cannot comprehend so many data points, and they come up with one particular metric called marks. And when marks is the output or the final metric, everyone tries to optimize for that, students, parents, and that's where everything goes wrong. So we have got a tremendous opportunity to make a dent and solve something which is fundamentally flawed. So one, you get to work on something that impacts hundreds of millions of students across the country, across the world, in a very right way. You get to solve for that. Second, we are very proud of the kind of team we have been able to build till now, with everyone having extreme sense of ownership, um, and extreme sense of freedom, extreme sense of wild ideas. Someone would come up with something, and we would see that in the next 2 weeks we have implemented that. So the kind of speed of implementation that we have got here, the kind of wildness of ideas you have got here is extremely exciting, while you get to disrupt something extremely fundamental.
That's awesome. That's really cool, Akhil, to see what you're building and the kind of change that you're creating. And you guys seem to be having fun while you're doing it.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And cheers, man. I love seeing you guys succeed.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for doing this.